Hello and welcome back to the Listening Lounge. My name is Nick Day, CEO of JGA Recruitment Group, specialist payroll and HR recruiters. Today I'm joined by Human Resources Director, Lisa Haggar. And Lisa is a strategic and innovative HR executive. She always seems to be helping, coaching or advising others, especially on LinkedIn. And quite frankly, her energy seems to be limitless. It's clear to me she's highly skilled in developing HR visions and initiatives that really do improve performance. They really do improve growth and employee engagement. And I truly believe she's a genuine influencer on LinkedIn. And you're going to find out exactly why I think that during this episode. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Lisa to the Listening Lounge today. How are you feeling, Lisa?
Good morning. Thank you. That's a great intro. I need to have you as my PR.
Because I should say congratulations were in order, because I did read on LinkedIn this week, you've just secured a brand new head of HR role. And I know as a recruiter, just how tough it can be for many individuals out there at the moment trying to find new positions. So I think it makes sense to lead with this as my first question. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to the people out there at the moment that are desperately seeking a new opportunity?
Yeah, like you say, it's been really interesting, and there's been some highs and there's been some definite lows, and hence the reason why I can help other people, because I've very, very recently walked that journey. But the advice is most of the people, especially kind of at my level, etc., all of them have said one thing, which they haven't got the job from clicking on a job advert. Every single one has come back and said they've got it from their network. And this is so whilst I put myself out there and I have an opinion and I get involved and I, be a bit controversial, contemporary, a little bit sassy at times, because I reflect my true personality in what I post, and because the authenticity is important. That's actually how I met who I'm going to join next. They called me and said, I really like stuff on LinkedIn. Let's have a chat. We had a chat, obviously then met the CEO and some other board members, got on like a house on fire, felt that we both had the same, vision for what is good in a business, what is going to grow it, what is going to take it into the next level. And yeah, so we had a lot of fun. And it was one of the interviews that you come off and you think, yeah, that went really well. And it didn't feel like an interview. So yeah, but again, I appreciate it's very tough out there. So the advice I give people is put yourself out there. I did a video, a testimonial video with two previous CEOs I'd worked with, talking about what I delivered and why you'd want to work with me. And I did that because no one else is doing it. When you apply for a role and you're number 743, how are you going to stand out? And that was my approach. How am I going to make a different noise to everybody else that's out there at the moment, because it's so tough? Don't be afraid to ask for help, because so many people are in this position. And so I just kind of, again, that's why I help other people, because I see in the position to help with people's confidence, with giving some guidance on CVs, for giving them a different message to them, put themselves out there. And I just think that, especially in my position, that it's important to do that. It's important to give back and pay forward. And it's like all things, you put yourself out there, you help others, and I've got this amazing opportunity. And I do believe that that's correlated with me putting good stuff out there and then good stuff being reflected back. So
it sounds like it's absolutely had a huge impact on you securing this role. And I think it's fantastic advice. Now, to give some people some context about just how much traction you get on LinkedIn and why I would consider you an influencer, is on a recent post, and very recent, because when you announced your most recent job, last time I checked, that post had 21,000 reactions. It had over 1 million views and over 3,000 comments. I mean, these numbers blow my mind. They're amazing. So I've got to ask, because I'm as keen to learn as anyone else, what's your secret, Lisa, to getting such high levels of engagement on LinkedIn?
I genuinely think it's because normally as HR people, we are very quiet. We're in the background. We're busy. Very few people will put themselves out there. And again, I think it's because just generally, there's a lot of people so risk adverse. They're like, well, what if I put something out there and somebody has an opinion about me? Well, good, bad, or indifferent, that's okay. Everyone's entitled to opinion. But like opinions, everyone has one. You don't have to agree with it. And so I like to I put myself out there in terms of my career, my personality, the things I think HR should be doing differently. So my messages resonate with so many people who are thinking it, but aren't brave enough or courageous enough to put themselves forward in that. And so that's where it started to really grow, was actually, do you know what, I think she's got a point. For example, I use the I put a post out there to talk about, let's have walk-in interviews. Let's stop interviewing people in a long, dark office where people have to do that walk of shame going into the interview, have the interview, feel uncomfortable, and then walk of shame afterwards. Let's remember we're dealing with human beings, and it's stressful enough going for an interview, especially when things are happening right now where there's so few jobs and so many people looking. Everybody's extra anxious. So it's like, well, let's find an environment where people are at their best. So those types of posts, people start to really get behind and get excited about. And my impact is like, well, if I can change one person's thinking, and even though if I had hundreds of people disagreeing with me, that's okay. If I manage to change that one person's thinking, then for me, it's been worth it. And I have a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun. I say I put my personality out there. I'm usually more of personal stuff at the weekends, a little bit of sass, a little bit of cheek, a little bit of flirting, all of the things that I'm known for. But because that's my personality, I'm a lot of fun. And I work at pace, and I just think that I love what I do. And my mantra every day is go mad, which stands for make a difference. And so I try to do that, not only for myself, but to impact others to do the same. And I just think HR's got so many things it can add. And I think we're hiding and we're too submissive. And so I think that's why it does so well, simply because I have a voice where many haven't and haven't before.
I think you're absolutely right. And it's worth me adding here because you have done so much for other people. So a lot of your work, which is creating engagement, it's not just about, in my view, creating reaction and showing your personality. Part of your personality has been helping others, doing so much pro bono support for people who are struggling with anxiety, struggling with mental health due to the crisis, due to being out of work. And I think you've been a real shining light during that time. And I appreciate that as a recruiter because I know how much work is involved. I know how critical that work is. So I'm going to make a little thank you for the work you've been doing so far. It's been really valuable, and I think it's no surprise to me you've got the engagement you get because of the work we do. Well, my last question, I want to bring it back to HR because you are an HR director with huge credentials, a brand new job. So if you could change one thing about human resources, Lisa, what would it be and why?
If I could change one thing, again, I think it's about a lot of perception. Perception is the biggest killer in our industry, because a lot of it is wrong, and don't get me wrong, some of it is right and does need to change. I don't sit here in my ivory tower and say my own wheelhouse of HR arena is perfect in any way, because it isn't. It does need a lot of change and updating, etc. Your first, when you join somewhere, it's about understanding the business, understanding the moving parts, what impacts it, how it runs, how it makes profit. Because at the end of the day, every business, whether it's charity, commercial, private, makes no difference. They're there to make profit. So unless you understand all the moving parts that actually generate money, you can't really turn around and then say how you really add value. Because then what you end up with is a HR department that's very transactional, that does the policies, the procedures and the handbooks and the admin, which all needs to get done, okay, but that's not where you really add value to the business. That's not where the business, the CEO says actually HR, when you get into the budgets, we are seen as a draw on the budget rather than, sales. Well, they are revenue generating. Everybody's revenue generating, but HR kind of has this, well, they're not revenue generating. Actually, we are. But you don't understand that. And until you can actually use your influence and skills to understand that yourselves, you can't really truly add that commercial value. So understand the business, get involved, ask questions, be pushy and say, can I sit in this meeting? So understand the business. And I think that, again, from a HR point of view, we are, as an industry, we are very submissive. We, roll out what the company wants and what the business needs. And we don't have a big enough voice in certain areas. And it's like, get involved. You can be a revenue generating department, but few know how to do it. And I think that's where we probably miss an awful lot of the trick. But that all comes back to, again, the biggest thing, which I said in the beginning, which is perception. We have a big job to change perception of what HR is, what it does, and what it actually capable of, which is, for me, is endless. But that's what I would say. That's what I would change.
For those interested in listening more about that, you and I are going to be meeting together for the HR and podcast to discuss this subject in a little bit more detail. But thank you, Lisa, so much for joining me today on the Listening Lounge. It's fantastic to hear from you. I'm delighted that you secured your new position as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. And remember that every single good conversation starts with good listening. And if you want to take Lisa's advice, put yourself out there, make your first post, and make a start. And soon you could have, well, over a million views to your next LinkedIn post. So thanks again, Lisa, and have a fantastic day. And I'll see you all again very soon.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate your time. Thanks. Bye-bye.